there, AZ Bill 3433 here once again. Today is Wednesday the 14th. I'm going to be going on a car camping trip this weekend, starting on Friday through Saturday and come home on Sunday. And I still like to take my alcohol stoves, the ones that I've made. This one I made, this Bud Light stove I just made this past week. I made several of them. I'm going to do a video on these. I've probably made about 20 or 30 of these in the past year or so. I think I have kind of a different method in which I make these that I'd like to show you, but that'll be an upcoming video. But I'm going to take this one along for the purpose of making coffee, and this will be the first time I've kind of used this method, and I'm really interested. I've done a couple little tests to see how well it works, but we're gonna do a little test today to see. I've got these large grease pots that are actually, I get them from Walmart, and this one here that I have has now, I think it's, I measured it this morning, it's got 42 ounces of water in it. I'm going to have 3 of us having coffee during the weekend here, so I need a lot of water and a lot of hot water to make the coffee. So I'm going to do a test using the Bud Light stove and see what kind of temperature I can get this at. I know McDonald's usually has theirs around 180. So if I can get around 180 on this or above that, using this one, about 1 1/4 ounces of fuel. I've already tried this once and it seems to work fairly good. We're going to give that a try yet today. But then along that line, after I'm done getting that water hot and at the campsite, I have a second pot here that I'm going to utilize, a GSI Outdoor. It's called a collapsible drip, collapsible coffee drip maker. And what you do is you fit in the top here. I don't know if it's in the camera here or not, but you actually put a number 4 cone filter in the top here. And of course put your coffee in and then use our hot water from this to make our coffee inside here. Now I'm going to try to make up a cozy here before I leave and see how well it works. And let me put this out of the way so you can see this maybe a little better. But this actually takes a number 4 coffee filter that I use here every day. So we're going to use that on the campsite. Now the other thing that I am going to take along is a Soto torch that maybe you've seen me use in the past here. They actually utilize the Scriptos rectangular type butane lighters. This one here has 8 refills in here, or 8 lighters in there for, I think it's just about $2 at Walmart, around that area. Now I like this, and let me put my top back on here again. I like this one here, but I've seen a lot of people review it, but there's one thing I don't think I've seen people tell when they review it, tell one of the features of this, and that is and it's a little difficult to take this top off. It comes off quite difficultly, but on the front edge of the lighter here, there's a little slide bar on the front edge here. And what that actually does is, if you use it just as a lighter, controls the amount of flame that you get. Well, that also controls the amount of torch flame that you get too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that on right now. I think I have it on the larger one. I'm going to turn one of the lights out and let you look at it. Hopefully you can see that, but what we're going to do is like that. Now that's at the highest that the torch will go. And what I'll do now is I'll turn, well, let me just go ahead and I'll stay right here and take this off again and push it all the way over to the other side. Put the top back on. And I think you can see there's just a small flame there. Very, very small. So you have that kind of latitude that you can have a large flame, a large torch, or you can just have it very muted like that. So it's kind of, this is what I like about this torch, and you can see different videos on this that review the Soto. I like it. I've always taken it every time I go camping. I take it and I use it here. I just put a new refill in it. I had the other one in there probably for 6 months or so. I really hadn't run out, but since I'm going to take it camping with me this weekend, I decided to go ahead and put a new one in. So they do last quite a long time. So let me set up the our test as far as using the Bud Light stove. And as soon as I get that set up, I'll turn the camera back on and we'll see how far we go with heating up this large pot of water. Be right back. Okay, we're back. And I've got measured out about 1.25 ounces of fuel I'm going to put in the stove. And use a torch to get her started. Yeah, that's right on the low side here, so there we go. Okay, we'll wait for it to blossom out here. And the water is at 66 degrees. You got to put some ice cubes in it again to get the temperature. But what we'll do is we'll get this on, and then it usually is going to take a fair amount of time, and I'll probably have to shut down the camera until we get probably about in the 8 or 9 minute area. I'll let this blossom out first here. It's been rather cold here in Arizona. In fact, this morning it was only about 48 when I got up this morning, so it's a little on the cool side for Arizona. For us, it's cold. So here we go. All right, let's put her on. There we go. And what we'll do is, as soon as I get to about the 8 or 9 minute mark, I'm going to be watching the temperature on here, and I'll start the camera back up again. Be right back. Okay, I've just started this up so you can see the flame pattern underneath the pot on this particular stove, and that's significant because I believe the way in which I have this stove made, which I said I think is somewhat unique to what I've done here with these Bud Light stoves, is that I don't particularly like having the flames lapping over the edges of the pot. I don't think it's efficient, and I think it can be dangerous if you're in a position where it's difficult to see the flame. So I just wanted you to see this, and again, as soon as we get a point where we're about 8 or 9 minutes in, then I'll start the camera back up. Okay, we're back. We've actually passed over the 9 minute mark, and our temperature is at 165. And actually we're right at over 10 minutes now. And we still have a nice flame. Still have a nice flame going, and it's still moving up. Almost 170, 169. I guess what I'm trying to prove here is that these alcohol stoves, although most of the time you see these Bud Light stoves actually being used to do just a couple cups of water, 8 ounces, or 8 ounces of water, 2 cups of water. I've actually got 42 ounces of water in here. I mean, I have 3 people I'm going to make coffee for, so we're taking those insulated type mugs along. And what I did was I actually filled those mugs up to about within about a ½ inch of the top, because you have to put the top back on again. And then I added actually, I think, another 6 ounces, because a lot of the water that you pour in, of course, goes to the filter. So that's how we actually made up for 42 ounces in there. And right now we're at 187, and we're at about 11, just a little over, somewhat over 11 minutes, almost going on to 12 minutes. You're starting to hear the rumbling on the inside of the pot now. So this is really convenient because, when I take my canister stove, which I have the canister, the small canister, and then I have the, the kind of screws on, the kind of stove that screws on. What happens is, it's up so high, it's to me it's a little bit precarious, so I was thinking about maybe taking this. It's down low. I don't have a problem with it, you know, when I have to walk away from it thinking something's going to jostle it or something like that and fall over. I'm just not real happy with that. We're still running pretty good. Still running pretty good here. I'm surprised because last time I tested this, it went about 13 minutes, and we're about a little over 12 minutes into it right now. And just went out. Just heard it go out. And we're at actually 192 degrees. 192 degrees. So I think that's pretty darn good. Yeah, we'll be outside and maybe the elements will be a little bit different. It is cool here in the garage. It's probably only in the high 50s here in the garage today because it's still early in the morning. It's about 11 o'clock in the morning. And it's only supposed to get up to about 70 something today. So it's still cool here in the garage, but the elements are going to be a little bit, you know, influence it again. But I think this looks pretty darn good. So I hope you like it. If you have any questions or comments or anything, just let me know. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.